Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Easy Sewing with Taic, your go-to space for stylish, easy, beginner-friendly sewing tutorials that you would absolutely love. Today, we are making this chic ruffled scrunchie that you can use as a neckline, a sleeve, or even as a fun extra detail to elevate your outfit to make it pop. It is versatile, it is stylish, and super easy to sew. Now, if you are new here, my name is Taiwo, and I'm so glad that you stopped by. Whether this is your first time or you've been sewing along with me for a while, welcome to the EST family. This is a growing community, so be sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on the fun. And to my amazing returning subscribers, thank you for being here. Your support truly means the world. So before we start, drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to connect with you, all right? Now let's dive in. To make this ruffle scrunchie, we need just one measurement, and I'll be showing you how to take the measurements depending on where you want to attach the ruffles. Now, if you want it to serve as a neckline, you want it to go over the neck, let's just assume where I place my green pins is the start of the tube top or the tube dress. Now, you just want to place your tape measure this way, making sure that it touches the start point of the tube dress or where your tube dress or top is starting from, and then you take it over the neckline to the other side. Now, do not allow this measurement to be too tight. Make sure it is a bit free, okay? And you take whatever you have there. So what I have is 19 inches, and it is that 19 inches that I'll be working with today. Again, if you want it to serve as a sleeve on the tube dress, you can just place the tape measure at the start point of the tube dress that way, and you just take it all the way to the back to where the back tube dress is starting from as well, and you take your measurements. And if you want it to come all the way across the back like one of the style inspiration that we have there, then you just have to take your tape measurement that way. So the basic thing is just to take the measurement across wherever you want this scrunchie, this ruffle scrunchie to be placed. You can even use it to form a rose design. It is so versatile. Now that we have our measurement, which is 19 inches, we can proceed to the cutting table. Now, this ruffled scrunchie consists of an inner part and an outer part. So starting off with the inner part, remember that the measurement we took on the mannequin was 19 inches. So go ahead and measure out the 19 inches on a piece of fabric like this, but add 1 inch allowance for your joining, okay? That's half inch on both sides. Now, it depends on where you want to attach this ruffles. If you know that you'll be needing more allowance, then by all means go ahead, but half inch on both sides is fine. And the width of the inner part that we're working with is 5 inches. So I'll go ahead and measure that and make sure that the dimension that I have for the inner part is 20 inches by 5 inches. After which I went ahead to cut it out. Since the width is 5 inches, when it is folded, it means I would have 2.5 inches on fold. Then I'll head over to the sewing table to sew it off at the sides using half inch. That is the final result of the inner part would now be 2 inches. So this inner part, you can make it 2 inches wide or 1.5 inches wide. All right. Moving on to the outer part of this ruffled scrunchie, here's the fabric I'll be using for that, and you can see how long it is. Now, the length of this outer part depends on so many factors. One is how full do you want this ruffled scrunchie to be, and the second one is the fabric choice, okay? So if you are working with a lightweight fabric like chiffon too, then you want the length to be extremely long. That is, you want to multiply the initial measurement that which is 19 inches, you can multiply it by 8, 10, thereabout. But if you are working with a thick fabric, then multiplying it by 2, by 3 or 4 will suffice, like a mikado or a satin fabric, okay? And then it depends on how full you want it to be. So you need to consider all of this before determining how much you would multiply the initial length that we have by. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I multiplied the 19 inches by 2. So the length that I have here is actually 38 inches. And the width is 10 inches. That is, when it is folded, it is 5 inches, as you can see on the screen. Moving on, the next thing to do is to make sure that the edges of this outer part is actually tapered. You don't want to leave it as wide. So I'll come down by 3 inches, okay, because I'm sure that this 3 inches would accommodate the 2 inches of the inner part, and it should still look nice enough to attach to the front of the tube dress. So from this 3 inches, I'll connect it to the center. All right, I'll just slant it this way. The goal is to make these edges tapered. If the edges remains as wide, then it might not look too nice, especially for the purpose of which we are using it for in this particular tutorial. Okay, after which I'll go ahead and cut it out like this. And here is what I have. I'll remove the pin so you can see how it looks like. So here is one edge and here is the other edge. Now I'll head over to the sewing machine to join it together using half an inch as well as the inner parts that we cut out earlier. While we join both the inner part and the outer part together at the side using half an inch, can you see how simple the cutting process was? Sewing doesn't have to be complicated. Little steps makes beautiful results. And even if your ruffles doesn't come out perfect this first time, don't be discouraged. That is how we all learn. Now a quick question. Would you like to use this scrunchie style more for a neckline, or you prefer it as a sleeve, or even as an extra detail to make your outfit pop? To make your outfit stylish and unique? Comment below. I would love to know your preference. And if you have been enjoying this so far, or you absolutely love the end result, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps more people to find our community. That being said, let's continue. Moving on, now that this joining has been done, the next thing to do is to turn it inside out. Turn both the outer part and the inner part inside out. Afterwards, we head to the pressing table to give this a good press, okay? Because once your ruffles is done, it's a bit difficult to iron it in place. So it's better that you give it a very good press before we proceed to make the actual ruffle. Now, here is what I have after giving it a good press. For this part of the tutorial, you would need your safety pin. So the next thing to do is to pass this inner part, to pass it through the outer part, all right? So you want to go ahead and fix the edge with the safety pin that way, then you start inserting it. Now I will advise you to use a bigger safety pin because this smaller one was dragging a bit, and you have to be careful so that you would not make the fabric to wrinkle. Remember that we've ironed it and give it a good press, and after you formed your ruffles, it will be quite difficult for you to iron it. All right, so just want to be careful when you are passing the inner part through this outer part this way. So once you've gotten to the edge like this, just go ahead and secure it down with your pin, or you stitch it down immediately. After securing one of the ends that way, I'll continue to pass in the inner part, all right, till I get to the second end. Then I would make sure that I secure it with a pin and give it a stitch. All right, I'll head over to the sewing machine to stitch this down. As you can see, the edges has been stitched down, and I've gone ahead to evenly distribute the ruffles. Okay, so you want to arrange the ruffles anyhow you like according to your preference, and go ahead and attach this to any part of your outfit if you want to use it as a sleeve, as a neckline, or as an extra detail. Thank you so much for sewing with me today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a like and share it with someone who loves sewing too. Your support truly helps this community to grow, and I'm grateful you're a part of it. I can't wait to see your draft or finished ruffle, so don't forget to tag me when you share your work. Up until next time, keep creating and keep shining. Bye.